He wrestled bears as a boy, smashed legends as a man, and retired undefeated at 29-0. Some say he is the most dominant fighter in UFC history.
I started to grapple, and Khabib jumped on top of me, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get up when I want to. But that is not the case. He is literally the strongest person I may have ever.
These guys that I fought feel crazy strong to where it's overwhelming, but it's just his position and his balance was so good. He knew where my weight was, where it needed to be to get in a better position. He's just so advanced.
Thinking like Dustin is like crazy guy. He think I'm gonna tap in front of my father.
There will never be peace here. I always say you should aim for peace. But if you can't aim for peace, aim between the eyes. And that's it. I'm gonna aim right between that man's eyes. And this is never over.
Khabib has a choice now. He's the perfect role model.
But how good was Khabib Nurmagomedov really? Khabib was born in Dagestan, a place where hardship and discipline forged warriors. His father, Khabib Nurmagomedov, wasn't just a coach. He was a builder of men. Under his watch, Khabib's childhood wasn't about games. It was about grinding, training, and learning to break limits. The famous story? As a boy, Khabib wrestled a bear cub. It wasn't about cruelty. It was about toughness, about fearlessness. Khabib believed that if his son could face a bear, he could face anything. Dagestan shaped him. His father sharpened him. And soon, the world would meet the man that boy would become. By the time Khabib stepped into MMA, he was already built different. His Sambo background gave him weapons that few in the West understood. His takedowns weren't just about slamming opponents to the ground. They were about trapping them there. His control wasn't normal. It was suffocating, like being stuck under a wave you couldn't escape. Daniel Cormier, one of the greatest wrestlers and champions in UFC history, told a story that says it all. One day, Khabib and I started to grapple, and he jumped on top of me, and I am like, okay, I can just get up whenever I want to, and then I realized I could not get up. That is the most amount of power I have ever felt.
We started to grapple, and Khabib jumped on top of me, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get up when I want to. But that is not the case. He is literally the strongest person I may have ever.
Think about that. Cormier was an Olympic wrestler, a heavyweight, a man used to controlling giants. And yet, he admitted that Khabib's pressure was something else entirely. That's what made Khabib so different. He didn't just fight people, he drowned them. Once he was on top of you, there was no escape, no space, no hope. That was the formula that carried him through the early UFC ranks, stacking win after win until the world couldn't ignore him anymore. But dominance always faces a test. For Khabib, one of the most dangerous came against Dustin Poirier. Poirier was no stranger to wars. He'd beaten champions. He'd endured punishment. He was known for his toughness and his boxing. Many thought he could be the one to challenge Khabib's perfect record. When they fought, Poirier quickly learned what made Khabib different. All the guys that I have fought never felt this overwhelming other than when I fought Khabib. His position was so good and his balance was just perfect. He is just so advanced.
These guys that I fought feel crazy strong to where it's overwhelming, but it's just his position and his balance was so good. He knew where my weight was, where it needed to be to get in a better position. He's just so advanced.
Overwhelming. That's the word. It wasn't just that Khabib was winning exchanges. It was that every second, every movement, every position felt heavy. Like being buried under a mountain, you couldn't move. But there was a moment, a flash of danger. Poirier locked in a guillotine choke. The crowd roared. For the first time, Khabib looked caught. The undefeated record, the aura, all of it seemed to hang in the balance. After the fight, Khabib admitted how close it felt. Dustin is a crazy guy, and he actually thought that I was going to tap out in front of my father.
Thinking like Dustin is like crazy guy. He think I'm gonna tap in front of my father.
But he didn't. He stayed calm, found space, and escaped. Then he returned to his game. Pressure control, domination, eventually forcing Poirier to tap. That fight showed the world two things. Khabib was human enough to face danger, but strong enough to survive it. And in the end, that combination is what made him unbreakable. No story of Khabib is complete without the McGregor rivalry. Conor McGregor wasn't just a fighter. He was a phenomenon. He sold out arenas. He conquered 2 divisions. He was the face of the UFC. And when the feud with Khabib ignited, it became the biggest fight in mixed martial arts history. The lead-up was ugly. Trash talk. Insults about family, religion, and culture. The infamous bus attack, where McGregor hurled a dolly into a UFC bus carrying Khabib. The tension wasn't just sport. It was personal. Conor promised destruction. I always aim for peace, but if you can't aim for peace, aim between the eyes, and that is where I am aiming, and I will take Khabib down.
There will never be peace here. I always say you should aim for peace. But if you can't aim for peace, aim between the eyes. And that's it. I'm gonna aim right between that man's eyes, and this is never over.
The world listened. The world believed. But when the cage door closed, promises met reality. Khabib didn't just beat McGregor. He dominated him. He took him down, controlled him, smashed him with ground and pound. And in the 4th round, he made him tap. The Irishman, the king of hype, broken on the mat. It was more than a win. It was a statement. On the biggest stage in UFC history, Khabib proved his style was unstoppable. After defending his belt and conquering every challenge, Khabib faced his greatest loss, his father's passing. Abdulmanap had been his guide, his mentor, his anchor. Without him, the sport no longer felt the same. In 2020, after submitting Justin Gaethje, Khabib took off his gloves and retired in the cage. Not because he was beaten, not because he was tired, but because he had promised his mother he wouldn't fight without his father by his side. He walked away at 29-0, undefeated, untouchable. And his legacy? It wasn't just about smashing opponents. It was about the man he chose to be. Khabib always had a choice, and he chose to be a perfect role model.
Khabib has a choice now. He's the perfect role model.
In a sport often fueled by trash talk and controversy, Khabib was different. He was disciplined, respectful, devout. He proved you could be both a killer in the cage and a role model outside of it. So how good was Khabib Nurmagomedov, really? He was power that Daniel Cormier couldn't escape. He was control that Dustin Poirier couldn't break. He was the wall that Conor McGregor couldn't climb. And he was the role model Georges St-Pierre admired. He wrestled bears as a boy. He retired undefeated as a man. And maybe, just maybe, we'll never see another fighter quite like him.